now on BBC Two, the video diary of Paul Taylor, an ex-member of the National Front who's now an activist for the Anti-Nazi League. This is his battle against fascism and racism, which often leads to confrontations with the police, but it's a cause he believes in passionately, and he's not afraid to express the strength of his feelings.
I used to be a Nazi. In the 1970s, I was a very active member of the National Front. Now I've changed, and for the last 2 years, I've been an activist in the Anti-Nazi League. In September 1993, the British National Party got its first local councillor in Britain. It scared the life out of me. This is Derek Beacon, the BNP Nazi elected on the Isle of Dogs in East London. If the party he represents ever got in power, they'd do away with freedom of speech. So I'm exercising my editorial control on this programme and doing away with his. Now, I'll tell you what we're doing down here, right, is tomorrow there's the Blood and Honour concerts going off in Old Street. So what we've decided to do is, me and Pixie, we come down here. It's supposed to be a European turnout, and we're coming down here to see if there's enough skins down here, whether there's any Euro-Nazis, whether there's any, basically what's going on. We went for a walk already, and there's hardly anybody at all down here. So, a few that look sort of like Italian? Yeah, possibly Italian, something like that. But this is the place where the Nazis always come to meet up before they have a gig. And especially a Euro gig like this, a big one, then the foreign ones get there the night before. So we'll hang around for a little while, see if we can find some. I'm going to buy one of those Brits on the piss t-shirts. That's what really impresses me about Nazis, really. This sort of thing that they wear and I'm really proud of. Blood and Honour is the banner that the Nazi skinhead bands play under. When their leader, Ian Stuart Donaldson, died in a car crash, they decided to hold a memorial gig for him. We wanted to stop the gig, and as usual they didn't reveal the venue until the actual day. We turned up at Old Street to stop them announcing it. All you got over there is a load of policemen looking for all of us and they don't know where we are. Anyway, that's a normal tactic. Wherever they turn up, make sure we move straight away so they can't ever box us in. Because they box us in, then the Nazis just turn up, and that's it, isn't it? They get to go to their gig, and we're just stuck inside a ring of policemen for the whole day.
There's actually black policemen.
Smile. I tell you, that pisses me off. Black coppers defending Nazis. Stupid. Right, here we are, we're at Bargain Station now, and look at this, the old bill won't let us get off the platform, so we must definitely be in the right place. Look at the amount of people there, though.
Nazis out! When do we want it? Now! What do we want? Nazis out! When do we want it? Now! What do we want? Nazis out!
Protect the Nazis! Police protect the Nazis! Police protect the Nazis! Police protect the Nazis! I hate that.
Police protect the Nazis! Police protect the Nazis! Police protect the Nazis! Police...
Right, here we are, we're all marching down the street. None of us quite know where we're going to.
We're going to the Pipers.
Oh, we're going to the Pipers, where the Nazis are supposed to be all
And then go up.
down there. Someone says about 150. So we're all going to go down there. There's probably, I don't know, 300-400 of us. So we outnumber 4 to 1.
Nazi scum, on our streets.
Nazi scum! Using spotters on bikes with mobile phones, we found out where the gig was and started heading for it. Nazi scum! The police got worried about the confrontation and cancelled the Nazi gig.
Nazi scum!
One good thing about these demonstrations is you pick up a lot of people that are pissed up with Nazis as well. So we end up having 3 people walking along with us who all hate Nazis, don't you?
Yeah!
The Nazis are they've lost it, basically. Their gigs are cancelled. They're spread out all over the place. So it's successful. We've done what we set out to do. We stopped them from having their Nazi gig and making money for blood and honour and having a memorial gig for Ian Stuart Donaldson. So so far, as long as what everyone's saying is true, it's a victory. Even though you don't feel like it's a victory walking around the streets like this sometimes. Probably be another police riot and we'll get blamed for it in the press tomorrow, you watch. Look at them. It's like a war zone. I can't believe it.
All dressed up with no place to go.
Very good. Yeah. All dressed up with no place to go. But just look at them. What a waste of taxpayers' money, eh? I tell you, quite honestly, right? They're just begging for it to kick off, that mob. They're just such violent thugs. Like I say, the BNP, the police. They're just as, well, probably more violent than the BNP because they know they can bash heads, crack skulls, and just get away with it. They do. The thing is, viewers, this policeman here, he likes to shine his big torch. See, actually, it's good. You get a good shot of me now. Look, keep that on me, please. Thanks. They are so funny, aren't they? They're supposed to be adults as well. My kid's 11 years old, more intelligent than that lot. It should have been all over, but the police put us on a train which took us without stopping to Earl's Court in central London. None of us wanted to go there, but the police gave us no choice. Fucking hell, look! What are they doing?
Get going, come on.
This is the black police officer making me go. All right, I'll go. They let this bloke go straight away and didn't arrest him or anything. The way they do it is unbelievable. Look at it, look.
Julie!
These kids haven't done nothing. Hold on, this is in your interest. Look at that truncheon over his...
Away. Over the other side.
Graham! All right. You see that? A truncheon around his neck. Hold on, not this camera, right? It's a big... Come on, for fuck's sake.
Keep going.
Well, you see that? Bastard slapped me on the back with a truncheon. Tried to rip the camera out of my hand and tried to stop the filming going there. They've also... The microphone thing's busted. They're just going ape shit. The coppers are just going mad. They're out of control. Sorry. Oh, the riot squad's coming now. Fucking hell, gotta run here because they don't give a shit who they bash. Fucking hell, there's fucking hundreds of them. Jesus Christ.
Get this, scum!
I'm going to try and skirt around them. Hopefully they won't do anything. But I've got completely cut off now. I feel it too. It's so scary. Right, Bubbles, tell me what happened for you to get that.
We were at East Ham tube station because we were trying to get down to Beacon Street and the police had stopped the tubes, well that's what they told us, and we were going upstairs to get on a bus. And then somebody saw about 20 Nazis on tube. So he sort of shouted out there's Nazis on the tube. And so we all sort of ran down. And people were really angry because, I mean, everybody had sort of like been getting worked up all day, and we saw the Nazis and they were in like full regalia. They had the boots on, the jackets on, and the Z Carlin, and had the screwdriver t-shirts on. I think everybody was really apprehensive because nobody really wanted to get onto the tube with 20 Nazis. I mean, what if the door had closed? So people were like throwing things at them and poking them and stuff, and like stupidly somebody threw a brick onto the tube at them, and unfortunately it missed them. They picked it up and threw it back out, and that's what happened.
It's better, turn it down a bit. Sunday afternoon means the door's got to chill out a bit today, see? Different styles of music for different days of the week normally. It's coming up to 6 o'clock. That means that Danny and Leanne are starting to get ready to come over to see me. And they'll be over till when they go to school on Wednesday. When I first left my wife, well, I didn't leave her, she left me. When she first left me, a few years ago, I can't remember how long ago it was. It was about 3 years ago. I didn't used to see my kids as much. I know she knew it made sense, but she didn't really want me to have the children for 3 days. She wanted me to have them like most other dads, every other weekend, you know, and stuff like that. But I wasn't prepared to do that because if you only have your kids at the weekends, you stop playing the role of a father and you just become some kind of like an uncle or something like that. And so I never wanted to get like that. So I was insistent, and I almost felt that I really, really love my children. If I was reduced to some kind of weekend turnout, I wouldn't have wanted to see them at all, because it wouldn't have been any good for me and no good for them. I mean, one of the ways that I see things is that this house, it's their house as well. I mean, it's where we all live, and so that's why I kind of respect the privacy of their bedroom. I wouldn't go and I wouldn't paint the walls unless they agreed with the colour. I wouldn't do anything unless Danny and Leanne agreed with it, really, because it's their house, just as much as mine. All I have to do is pay the rent. I pay the rent and they give it life. So. God blimey. On the queue, here we go. Hello? Hello there. Yeah, you ready? Alright then. Right. What's that horrible music you got in the background? Highway to Heaven. Poor gag. Alright, my darling. I'll leave now, alright? Okay, love ya. Bye. Yes. 2 minutes early. Right. Who wants to see a star?
Oh, this is that thing you were in where you beating up the
Well, it ended up at the end.
You didn't do it, you.
Yeah.
What you saying, but I have to live long. Take this
That was two.
That's not. Look at those tough hands.
What we meant him look like.
Oh yeah, so
Tough.
yeah.
Like Nazis or something.
What do you reckon?
Yeah. Why would you have to do pretend you're... Is this really over? Is this really over?
I think it's their next single. I just hope it gets on alright. Right. Currently standing outside the Magistrates Court in Bow Street, which is in Covent Garden. The reason that I'm here is that there's a pretty vicious, nasty person inside there called Lady Jane Birdwood. She stood as a candidate for the BNP in various elections, and she's written a booklet called The Longest Hatred, and it's taken years and years to get her to court to try and prosecute her for incitement to racial hatred. She's one of the, she looks like a silly old woman. She's about 70, 80 years old, and she looks all harmless. But the stuff that she punts out and she writes is in fact really, really damaging. Aha. Leon, smile, you're on camera.
That costs me money, that
That's all right. What, to take a picture of you?
Go on then.
Oh, that's nice, all right. I'll take pictures of these horrible Nazis. These are all supporters of Lady Dowager Birdwood. They're horrible people.
You want to put on there what they're doing in Palestine to those Palestinians, my boy.
Who is?
That's what you want to do.
You're just whooped, you nasty Nazi.
You ought to talk about what Hitler did.
Leon is a survivor from the Holocaust.
No, that's the same. That's right.
That's right.
Put it in your bloody head. Put it in your head.
There's another one coming out. Look, they look so doddery, but they are so dangerous.
Coming out.
Leon Greenman, the guy there who came out, who was shouting at that woman, he suffered for many years. He's a survivor of a Holocaust survivor. He went from concentration camp to concentration camp. When you talk to him and he tells you a story about the way that he lost his family, it's killing, it's heartbreaking. There's some more of them coming out now. Here they are, look at them. That's the master race, that is. I absolutely hate them all of them. Not all Nazis are skinheads. People like the Dowager Birdwood have been around for years. When I was in the NF, I believed in the same things that she does, that the Holocaust never happened. It's a sick lie. Try telling a survivor of one of the camps that it didn't happen. Leon Greenman was born in London, but he grew up in Holland, where he was a professional singer. When Hitler invaded Holland, Leon was taken to Auschwitz, along with 120,000 Dutch Jews. He says he's one of the unlucky ones that survived. Since then, he spent his whole life fighting Nazis. Still got a good voice, Leon. Cool.
You see, you get tattooed with this number, and your name is never used, never called in the camp. If they want you, they call out your number, 98,288. Your name is never mentioned. It's like this. I gave help to the Anne Frank exhibition in Portland Street 2 years ago. And the people look around the 700 beautiful photographs. I don't know much of Anne Frank's birth and so on. It's on the pictures. What I do know of is the Dutch Nazis, and that is in the Anne Frank exhibition to see. So I speak to the people. And after I finish speaking, I ask the people, after seeing the video of Anne Frank, the people going into the train and being taken away. And that's the end of the video. It's not the end of the thing at all. What happens to those people that go in the train and be driven away? I ask it to the people who have seen the photographs. And then I say, if you want to know more what happens to those people, then follow me, have a sit down and listen to me. And then 50 or 60 people sit down. There was a room with chairs, and I tell them that if Anne Frank would have come back from the camps, she would be standing here talking to you as what I'm going to tell you. The train goes away loaded with those people. The people arrive in the various concentration camps. For instance, Birkenau, where I arrived with 750 people. Men, women, children and babies, including my wife and baby, not even 3 years of age. 700 went into the gas chambers. Within 2 hours they were ashes. And after 3 years, only 2 men came back. That's Nazism. And this is the truth. And what did the real German Nazis think of the Dutch Nazis? They despised them. They said, you are traitors. You sold your country to us. And you do the same. You'd sell us as well. So you're no blooming good. And that's what the Nazis in England don't know.
That's what the German Nazis thought?
Yes, of the Dutch Nazis. And the Nazis here, those big ones, think they're gonna get a position to rule the country. What Hitler did to Roon and a lot of other Nazis, immediately when he had to say, he shot them. No opposition. And the same thing is going to happen in this country. I'm looking at some ashes which I collected in Buchenwald in front of the ovens. When Buchenwald concentration camp was liberated by General Patton's Third Army on April the 11th, 1945, I, Leon Greenman, was wandering about the campgrounds when I came upon the ovens in which were remains of prisoners cremated. Behind me were 4 large wooden containers filled to the top with the remains of many of our comrades. I could not help but to take some of these pieces of bones, almost ashes, as it proves the truth of what went on in these Nazi concentration camps. So these are the remains of one of the victims. Shake him, it just becomes ashes.
Wow, look at that. So you painted that. So
as a child,
as a child,
14,
in a band called Prodigy.
No.
Look, and up there we've got books. We've got the Pooh cookbook, something about pasta sauces, something else, the whole health menu, blah 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 blah. And what does she keep? Safe sex. The pleasures without the pitfalls. In her kitchen, amongst the cookery books and clothes.
Look, really stop it, I'm fed up. Do you want to have a row?
Yep.
I think you should switch it off when somebody exercises their right not to be filmed, don't you?
No.
That's not a row. Say no.
All right then. Grumpy Sophie. Oh, hello. SBC. Let's show you this pussycat. It's got BC Battle Cat. Hello, darling. Oh, purry, purry. Ain't seen you for ages, have I? Right, I phoned up the BNP headquarters today because I asked whether or not that it was true that they were having this gig thing. And when I phoned up their headquarters, I supposed to go, now I often phone them up, and I always go, oh yeah, hello, it's Paul from the island here, right? And I don't care if they know. I phone up as Paul from the island, the bloke that works down Romford. Well, if actually I don't support the BNP, I'm in the anti-Nazi league, and every time you give me information, right, you're giving it to the anti-Nazi league. And I phoned up and said, Paul, it's Paul here from the island, and this geezer went, oh what, Paul? So I said, no, Paul Carter. And asked him, and he said, oh, it's not happening, don't go there, whatever you do, don't go down there, don't go there. But now we know that Paul lives on the Isle of Dogs. They're giving your name out, mate. Yeah, BNP headquarters, all right. So much for their heavy security, eh? Oh, this cat's lovely. This building is quite significant to my life. I mean, by the time that I started working here, I was a member of the National Front. I was a racist, I hated black people, I hated Jews and gays. I was a reactionary idiot. And two people that I met here. One is my ex-wife, Janet, who wasn't a racist, wasn't a Nazi, and gradually changed my opinions on loads of different ideas. The other person was another guy that worked here, a black guy called Paul. And when I met Paul here, when I was already working here and he came to work here, it was the first time that I was in close contact with a black person. The first thing that struck you about Paul was that he didn't fall into that stereotypical image, and so you had to come up with a good old classic Nazi line, oh, I hate blacks, but he's all right, they're all lazy, but not him, he's you know, he's separate, he is. But funny enough, as I went through my life, the majority of black people end up being like that anyway. They're all right, and it's only a minority, like it's a minority of white people that ain't all right. Anyway, so I met this guy, and through working with him and sitting in the opposite desk, talking over a period of time, although he knew I was a racist, he knew my opinions, he knew I was a member of the NF, it didn't deter him. He didn't do what a lot of leftists today might do, go, oh no, cross, don't go near him. He kept on at me. He put it as simple as this: if you're a racist, I'm black, you can't like me. If you do like me, I'm black, then you can't be a racist. You've got to change your ideas and opinions. I had to say, yep, I liked him, he was okay. I had to say I wasn't a racist. Therefore, if I'm not a racist, and that was what the National Front, that was the main aims and ideas and the main platform for the National Front at that time, there was no place for me in the National Front.
130,000, but that's racial incidents. Now that combines, you know, equally terrifying things of, you know, mothers taking their kids to school.
Do you remember it?
Can't see actually.
Quick, Nazis, 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 Nazis!
Ah, don't do that, you bastard!
That sounds like that.
Hello? Nazi League. Hello, to help you. This is the anti-Nazi League, yeah? Very big, and I've changed sides, yes.
After their success on the Isle of Dogs, the National Front and the British National Party put up 52 candidates for the local council elections throughout the country. We went out every day, postering, leafleting, and on the knocker, explaining to the voters that these groups are actually Nazis. Going around these estates, you could see why people might vote for the BNP. The Tories have hammered the working class, and the opposition have done nothing about it. And second to beating the Nazis, I want the Tories out. Since September, when Derek Beaton got elected, racial attacks had gone up dramatically. In March '94, 40,000 people went on the TUC march through the East End of London. It was a chance to remember all the recent victims of racial violence. Right, it's Saturday, and Saturday afternoon, it's at 5 o'clock, something like that. Come 5 o'clock. I'm going down to meet Pixie and Guy, and we're then going on to West London to do this anti-Nazi League gig. Put on some weight. In a lot of actions, I go with the same people, Guy, Pixie, who also seem to work in the anti-Nazi League office. The reason is that you build up a rapport with each other. If you don't trust the person that you're with to look after your back, you won't look after theirs. What it comes down to is that I trust Pixie so much that if something happened tonight, if there was us three standing on the door and 30 Nazis come along and Pixie said, stand and fight, I'd stand and fight. If there was 30 of us on the door and 3 Nazis came along and Pixie said, run away, I'd run away. Look at him. He wants to look at the camera, but he's not going to, is he? No, he did. He looked. I don't actually like this music, but a lot of people do, and it gets the punters in. There's so much money, you ain't got enough pockets. Right, the time now is 9:30, and there's about 115, 120 people in there. It's taken over 400 quid. The break-even mark was about £300, so it's £100 in profit already, and the last band comes on at 11, and that's the one that's a big crowd puller. There's every chance there's going to be another load of people. We're actually at the moment looking at the idea of having to close the doors soon because it might get too packed. So just hopefully nothing dodgy goes on, really. Hopefully the Nazis don't turn up. Been around the local boozers, see if we can see anybody. Nobody around. Been for walks around the streets, been down to King's Cross Station and all that. Not a one of them. So we're making money for the Anti-Nazi League and having a nice, good, fun night. In a minute I'll go in there when one of the other bands comes on. The 2 support bands have been on so far, but when the others do, I'll take you in there, you can have a look at some of them, alright? Laters. I'm having a nice time. The gig raised £500 for the Don't Vote Nazi campaign. This kind of event is only a small part of the work we do. Fighting the Nazis is expensive, and the Anti-Nazi League needs all the money it can get. We rely completely on personal donations, with some money from individual trade union branches. Fundraising has to go on all the time. We were planning a carnival which is going to cost £100,000 to put on, and it was only a few weeks away. At 1 o'clock in the morning, and because I'm hungry, Sophie's cooking for me. She's so good. The gig's finished. It's been a pretty raging, major success. I'm sad. I was just singing. It was well worth it. Well worth it. It's done me in, but happy. I am happy about it. Oh well, we'll stop there then. That looks very complicated, guy. Since the ANL relaunched in 1992, over 50,000 people have joined. We rely a lot on volunteers to keep them up to date. All of these people in these boxes down there, well, all of this is the membership. It's all packed out with names. That's like the 50-odd thousand. You wouldn't believe it's 50,000, but in there, it's all the names of all the people. Those ones down there haven't had an envelope written. They have. Right, and what we've got to do today, all those envelopes, some more down there, is put one of each of these leaflets into it. Nicely, tightly rolled, just go up on a bus stop somewhere near you.
Did I tell you about our change of dates? Right, we changed the bank holiday weekend in May Yeah, that's what the council said. it was basically down to the ground.
Anna, hello. Yep. What was last night? Oh, it was all or nothing. Oh, hold on, God, the other line started going. Hold on. Anna, hello. You could, but he's on the other line. Who's speaking? Adam. All right, Adam. He'll probably phone you in about 5 minutes. All right, then. Bye-bye. There you go, that guy. That was a call for you. Adam. All right, then, go. Might see you Monday, mate. Laters. Bye-bye. It's all a far cry from my days in the NF. One attack, one piece of violence that absolutely sticks in my mind. We was in a van and we was at the traffic lights in Lewisham by the old Odeon there. It's now the Paradise Club or the Garage or something like that. And there was a family in a car, well, it looked like a family, of people that had turbans on. And we were stopped in the traffic lights next to them. And there was the kind of, yeah, shall we do them, shall we, shan't we, shall we, you know. Anyway, they decided to do it, and they all got these lumps of wood, you know. And they got out, and they started bashing the car, smash, smash, smash. And I could never ever work out why it was that they didn't drive off. And it was years later that I realised why they didn't drive off, and when they did drive off, why they did. The reason is in all the time the attack was going on, the lights were red. And as soon as the lights turned green, they drove off. And these were people that were too petrified to break the law to save their own lives. And it was a little while after that attack played on my mind about what had happened, the kind of weakness of it. There was only 2 men, and these people were petrified. They were having a shit beaten out and basically by what could have been about 11 or 12 people. And they just sat there because they didn't want to break the law. And so... During the long lead-up to the May local elections, a group of young white men and women attacked a Bengali youth in Tower Hamlets. Mukhtar Ahmed had been in intensive care for 4 weeks when I attended the vigil for him. Three weeks before the elections, Sophie drove me off to the West Country for the first holiday I'd had in 3 years. It was only for the weekend, but I wasn't complaining. All them poxy flies out there. Dun, 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 dun. Smart settee type things. Incredibly attractive wife.
Girlfriend?
Well...
I'm taking a stand against marriage, remember?
You should do something. And look at that over there, that's the kitchen thing, self-catering. We don't want to self-cater though. And up there, the bedding area. Now that ain't good, isn't it? Great, we're going to get a good view of some other things that are, some sites that are indistinguishable from everywhere else. I sort of zoom, look, your bum takes up nearly the whole... Here we are, we're on the top of something called Pulpit Rock in Cheddar.
Liar, we haven't got there yet.
Oh, do you hear that bird?
Yeah.
It's a bit close, isn't it? Haven't we?
No, we're just nearly there.
Oh.
We're on our way to it.
We're on our way to Pulpit Rock, whatever that means. Probably not a lot. It's just a very long way up. It's quite good, the sights. It's the sort of thing you couldn't spend more than a couple of minutes looking at it, really, could you? Do you think? Although Sophie enjoys fresh air and rocks, it's not my cup of tea. Anyway, I had to get back to London to pay the BNP a visit. So this is it. This is the Nazi headquarters in Upper Wicken Lane, well in Kent. Well, the reason we're here today is to advertise the anti-Nazi carnival on May the 28th, and also to get some publicity, because the Nazis got a lot of publicity over the last few weeks for their election campaign, and so we're getting publicity to say don't vote for Nazis.
On immigrants, on black people, this is something much wider, and actually for us it's a question of don't vote Nazi.
This guy there is Simon from the Levellers, and he's the singer-guitarist. Hey, did you see that? All his hair's fallen out. So young as well. What a man. Macho. So macho. Alright, the reason those two little scumbags just turned up here is because actually Nazis do visit this place. They come here to pick up literature, come up here to pick up, posters, stickers, turnouts like that. So nobody actually warned them that we were turning up today. So they've had a little wasted journey. Now, remember that that's the master race, and they're not scared of no one, right? These colours run from no one. All they did was they hid in the fucking post office, right? Hid in the post office, turned away and went off. Police didn't tell them to go away. We didn't tell them to go away. They just didn't have the bottle to come and confront us. Don't be fooled by the cameras. This picket was only reported in the music press. The news media completely ignored it. The coverage the Nazis got before the election only gave the impression that they're a normal political party. The tossers in the media say it's important to discuss these issues, but instead of showing them up for the fascists that they are, the media gave the Nazis a legitimacy that hides what they're really about.
In mainstream British politics, that there's rats who remain in sewers and not in town halls. And today here, just to remind ourselves, in this area, there has been 4 racist murders in the last 2 years and an increase in racist attacks of 210%. And indeed, since the election of Derek Beacon, the Nazi on the Isle of Dogs, there has been a 300% increase in racist attacks. I want to now hand you over to John Austin Walker, who's the MP for neighbouring Woolwich.
Thank you very much, Madam. I was listening to the radio this morning and in Parliament yesterday to a discussion about what should be done to commemorate the 50th anniversary of the D-Day landings. It's ironic, and I think we should remember that those D-Day landings took place to liberate Europe from the threat of Nazism and fascism.
Well, Mr. Pussycat, what do you think about having a Nazi headquarters so close to where you live, eh? What do you think? No comment.
Did you swear? No, he said shit.
Oh, right, yeah, that's the latest.
Bullshit.
Danny, don't flinch. Oh, so that's what I meant to say to you. Me and Pixie were on a train and we were mucking about. What doing? And Pixie went to put his arm around John as a well, actually, you know what I mean? That'd be quite gross. Pixie put his arm around anyway. But when he did...
Oh, I've got a beautiful shot of Danny doing that.
What are you doing?
That's appreciation.
Of his own cooking?
Yeah.
I'm never allowed to do that.
It's a terrible and disgusting habit, but I can sympathise.
Jump up. Put that in the wash.
Look, it's much easier.
Mummy usually washes that stuff. But
Dan, it's much easier to wipe your finger around it.
On Wednesday nights, she usually washes that stuff.
Does she?
Yeah, but it's alright first, she's going to come to her.
How dare she wash the stuff when it's come over from my house?
So wasn't she a comfort person like you?
She was, but her latest boyfriend, Leanne's going to tell the story.
He's allergic to it, and he's allergic to loads of soap.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Oh, Andy. Andrew.
So he's allergic to all this stuff, so therefore the kids have to suffer. And
have that horrible imperial liver.
Oh, no, I like that.
I have imperial liver here.
It's not as nice as the Lux.
What, my soap?
Yeah.
Well, why haven't you ever told me this?
No, I like it. It's not as nice as the Lux.
Right,
Well.
this is the score, Sophie, right?
Mm.
Leanne's got the hump that she has to have imperial leather over her mother's because you can't get a choice over there. She hasn't got the hump about using it here because there is a choice. You can use any soap when you get to my house. But she's got the hump because of Andrew. There's no choice in the sort of soap that you use. Is that what you're saying? I think that's pathetic, Leanne. Dan, what are you doing?
Playing computer.
Turn that computer off. Not today anymore, right? And the TV off.
So there's not enough space in the other room.
Right. What I said to you was that before you did anything else, in case you've forgotten, right, before you picked your nose, before you went in a bedroom.
Scraping off the meat.
The meat?
Yeah, the chicken, the meat.
What's your nose? Chicken going up your nose.
Well, it's going and then it...
Oh, yeah. Right. And it's congealed on the end of your nose. Gross. Right, one of the things that's got to happen is that you've got to do that bed job.
No. Okay. No, Leanne's got to do it with me.
Yeah, otherwise I get aggressive. Also, don't forget, the kitchen washing up's got to be done. That's got to be sorted out. Yeah. And also, I'd love a lovely cup of coffee.
Why can we do all that in the...
Between what, 6 o'clock, 6:30, and when you go to bed at 8:30?
Okay then, so I'll do, so we'll do the washing.
Anyone that's arguing and complaining is in bed at 8:30
So we do our bedroom, then we'll do the washing up, then we'll make you a coffee.
No, prefer it if it was the other way round, thanks.
No.
Coffee.
And when you go out and get some, can you get me some tomato sauce, please?
Oh, Leanne, no, you have too much of that.
I see.
She's got all that space to fill, though. She's got little boats.
She just fills her plate up with salted tomato sauce.
Oh, let her.
Leanne, cut it.
Hello, from the Anti-Nazi League, canvassing for the local elections. Could you open the door, please?
Hello, we're just canvassing for the local elections. I wonder if you mind opening the door so we can just put some... Thanks.
In the final week of the election campaign, we went out canvassing every day. By now it was obvious that the NF were getting nowhere. We even heard stories of their canvassers being chased off housing estates. The BNP and Derek Beacon still had pockets of support in East London, but by that time we knew we were going to get a lot of people out to vote against them.
You put that through my letterbox.
Well, I don't want that.
I don't want it.
What's that? You're not going to vote for the National Front, are you?
That's the last thing I do. I'm a conservative.
They're few and far between. They're few and far between. Right, it's the evening of Thursday the 5th, election day. It's 7:15. All the cars are loaded up, ready to go down to Tower Hamlets, York Hall. PA systems in the cars, the banners are all in the cars, all the lollipops, stickers, leaflets, everything. Given the nature of what it is today, the office actually is quite relaxed. From when I've come in, it seems to be quite relaxed. But obviously, you can see that everyone's been going really hard all day long. It's, as far as Beacon goes, it's looking quite good. At the moment, it's looking like they won't get any councillors in at all. They'll have some good results, but then it looks like they won't get a councillor in. I hope I don't have to eat my words later. In the 1970s, it wasn't unusual for the National Front to get thousands of votes in all types of elections. They've never reached that level of support since. I believe that's mainly because a whole generation of people were politicised by the ANL and the struggle at that time. Derek Beacon's election proved the Nazis still had the ability to organise effectively. To fight them, we have to be just as organised as they are. Well, here we go. God, it's pissing down with rain. It's 10:30. Last 30 minutes really dragged on a lot, but there's about 300 to 400 people. No, say 350 people here now. It's a lot of people to have outside this. Just this is outside the one town hall. There's going to be people outside all the town halls everywhere, all around the country, wherever the Nazis are standing. So 300 outside here ain't bad when it's spread so far around on the ground in other parts of London as well. do you think it's gone? How do you feel at the moment?
Well,
At 11:45.
I'm cautiously optimistic. On the island, right, we couldn't have done any more. We've got so many people out to vote, it's unreal. I mean, the people on the island, just the anti-Nazi League, have just been brilliant. And we've got everybody out that we can to vote. I mean, you know, it's like general election kind of, you know, 70% people coming out. I think we're going to beat them.
Do you, yeah?
Yeah, I think we're going to beat them, to be honest.
What did the BNP get? Yes! Out of how many?
Chesson sounds good.
Out of how many? 10%?
Over 9,000 people voted Nazi in Tower Hamlets. However, the other 44 Nazi candidates nationwide polled just 12,000 votes between them. Although the ANL say that the Don't Vote Nazi campaign was a success, in my opinion, it failed in East London. Derek Beacon lost his seat, but increased his vote by a third. That tells me the Nazis are hitting the right chord with the white working class. They're exploiting high unemployment, poor housing and bad education, and people are so desperate that they're listening to the BNP. The local Liberal Democrats, who'd been accused of fuelling racism in the area, were hammered by Labour, which got the biggest cheer of the night. Equally good news for the rest of the country was that the Tories lost masses of seats.
The good news is the Tories have lost Tunbridge Wells. The Tories have lost Woking. And get on your soapbox, John Major. They've just lost Basildon. Can you hear the Nazis sing? No! Can you hear the Nazis sing? No! Can you hear the Nazis sing? I can't hear a fucking thing! Bristol!
I'd like to announce that we're about to get married.
He's just been really racist to me. I think we should kick him out of the pub.
Well, what was it? I said we're going to get married.
He's been a real racist.
No, I was very northern about it. I was northernist.
And he's a chauvinist.
Oh, right.
And a ratcatcher, only kills rats. It's all rightfully...
You're only a bloody crusty. You don't understand about sexism and things like that. 3 weeks after the elections, 60,000 people assembled at Kennington Park to march to Brockwell Park in South London and join 120,000 others for the ANL Carnival.
I love that. He's going to run up the hill, film this.
Run today.
Thanks to the fact that it's Annika Rice. Mission impossible.
Altogether, nearly 250,000 people took part in the biggest anti-Nazi demonstration ever held in Britain. This is brilliant. There's thousands of people just walking along the streets. The demonstration isn't even here yet. They came from all over the country and from all sections of the community. Black and white, young and old, workers and the unemployed. Fantastic being in a demonstration like that. I wish I'd been in it since Kennington Park. But it's very loud. Makes Nazis say you're not welcome. They've got to know there's more people on this demonstration than they got votes throughout the entire country in the 94 elections. Why don't they just give up and go away? Nazism does not fit in this country, doesn't fit anywhere in this society. Smash the BNP! Smash the BNP!
People, slow down, it's a narrow gap! Slow down! Just keep it slow and calm, it's an arrogance. Just go very slow and calm.
Yeah, right, is that no blast the fascist man, don't tell it man, this last teachers I can't understand, we need help and we need it now, we got to be together and I don't know how, try music, carry on, into the nation,
Some cynics would say that the people who go to events like this only go for the music. They said that about Rock Against Racism in the 70s, but the people who went to those gigs were changed, and a lot of them got involved in the anti-Nazi struggle as a result. Nobody who was here will ever forget it. Nazis are like rats from the sewer. We can always kill the rats, but until we rebuild the sewers, they'll always come back. 2 weeks after this carnival, 41 fascists were elected to the European Parliament. In Italy, the fascists are in the government. I don't want to see that happen here. From Cable Street in the 30s, through Lewisham in the 70s, to the 94 carnival, the people of Britain have a fantastic tradition of fighting and smashing the Nazis. The real danger is forgetting that tradition and letting the Nazis grow without opposition. But for as long as we have governments that don't care about people, the Nazis will always have a breeding ground.